Welcome to Dave's Auto Wrecking. I've been in this location for about 30 years. So what you're looking at is some cars that I parked under these trees over the past 30 years that were basically my heart. I grew up doing Camaros. My first wrecking yard was Camaros. And for the last 10 years or so, everybody's been coming to me and saying, Dave, when are you going to restore a Camaro? And I really hadn't been in any hurry to restore a Camaro. It's been something that I figured I would do later in life as a retirement project, maybe fix one or two a year. And as you can see, the collection grew to something like 34 Camaros over the years. Today, where we are now pulling out a 69 Camaro from out under the tree here. It's a blue one over here. Car's been parked in there no less than 25 years. That's just one in the way right now. When I actually first bought this car, I had no intention of keeping it as a car. This was going to be a parts car for other cars that I had. But as the time's gone on, even though with all the problems and holes in the roof, this is actually now a pretty viable car for restoration. We first got this car out about a year ago to do an article with manufacturers or aftermarket sheet metal. They like this car because it's the ultimate before car. You see the front of it? Just hit hard like it ran into a train. But most of the manufacturers now are making every part of this car brand new. You really don't need anything from this car but the cowl section itself. What's the next car we got to yank out of there? It's another 68 Camaro. I believe that car is all there. Most of these cars I bought from insurance companies. So you'll see that everything's going to have some sort of damage. Back in the about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I had a Camaro wrecking yard at that time, which I still have. And these cars were purchased from the insurance company. So these were probably more like pretty late model cars at the time I got them. But almost everything has been in an accident.
So how many Camaros do you think you have back here?
There's a total of 34 Camaros in the collection. Some of them, the newest one would be a 74. I've got one later model car, but everything else is 73 and older, so it's the Gen 1s and Gen 2s. In the yard itself, throughout the wrecking yard, there's approximately 80-something cars scattered through this wrecking yard that are from that generation. I've got GTOs, Buick GSs, there's 12 El Caminos, there's 9 Corvettes. So the collection consists of approximately 80 cars scattered throughout the yard. But the gist of it is these 34 Camaros. When I parked these here, I had no idea what the car would eventually be worth. But at the same time, I parked some Corvettes. The Camaros now are worth more than the Corvettes are. When I first parked them, everybody had an interest in the Corvettes, not so much the Camaros. But for some reason, the Camaros are now probably the most popular hot rod subject there is at this moment, especially the 69 that we're pulling out. 69 Camaros have been the highlight of the past 2 or 3 SEMA shows. Everything that's been spectacular has pretty been tied to a 69 Camaro. Everybody in the world knows that car. Wow, looks pretty rugged, huh? See some wires and stuff hanging down that indicate this was probably a blinky eye front end car. It was probably a pretty valuable car at one time. It was insured by State Farm Insurance. That's who I bought it from. George, the forklift driver, has been with me for over 30 years. Came to me as a small kid, and now we've got his kids working here. This car here is a 69 Camaro that I bought from an insurance company that had rolled over. This project will probably be called From the Junkyard to the SEMA Show. The project we're going to do with this 69 Camaro is probably the most extensive build that you could probably look at. Because the car is hit so hard, I'm probably going to end up removing the roof. And if I remove the roof to place a new roof, I think I'd just as soon make it a convertible. So right now, my thinking on this car is we're gonna come out and we are gonna place a 69 Camaro body on a C5 Corvette chassis and make it a convertible all at the same time. Pretty big plans. Are we capable? I think we're capable. We haven't found out yet. The biggest part of this story is going to be how to get it all electrically hooked up and done, and I've got a lot of friends that are going to come out and help me with this project. This is my friend Manny Menchaca and his son Ismael. Hey, Manny. Glad you came out. Glad both of you came out here today. These two guys have the capability to do the wiring that I need done to make this project work. These guys have done some crazy things over the years that I've helped them out with in certain projects. He's got two boys that are extremely involved in cars that really know their stuff. And when I get this project going here to make the electrical system work, I think Manny has run through Chevy electrical systems from one end to the other trying to perfect some of his own cars, and he'll be invaluable to me when I set up my car. So the idea, Manny, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take not particularly this car, but the one we just taken out, the black one, the biggest mess I got.
Okay.
We're going to set that body on this C5 Corvette. So we're going to strip this car down to the chassis. So I am going to use this suspension, this rear end, move our transaxle to the back of the car to change the weight distribution, and I think we make one haul-ass Camaro.
Sure will.
The one that Manuel is putting the chain on right now is our project. Now that might change. I'm not so sure I want to take off this much work all at one time. But I do think it's probably the most interesting story I can come up with. The 67 car has all the stuff I need along the cowl here to make the convertible conversion. You can see here on this car, it'll be much simpler for me to make that car a convertible because of the way the post is down and the way the roof is down. And it's a much more desirable car if it becomes a convertible. The idea of building it for a purchaser is not what I'm doing. I'm trying to make the coolest car for myself. If this was something that I was to drive every day, what would I want in a Camaro? It's going to be more of an old man's hot rod than a young man's hot rod. I don't need 800 horsepower any longer. What I do need is a good, dependable ride that offers all the latest technology. So when I'm going down the road, I feel that I'm in a substantial automobile. Now, when I was younger, all I cared about was getting it as fast as I could possibly go. Now I want to ride with a little more style. I want the car to be dependable. I want my passengers to enjoy the ride. So it's a different concept. It's going to be more about colors and the finish and the fit. All the things that I have learned in the years that I enjoy. I want an air conditioning system that works like new. I want power windows that go up and down. Some of the things that weren't in the early Camaro. The biggest problem with an early Camaro is in the suspension. The early Camaro didn't handle well. It wasn't engineered properly. If you came to a railroad track, a dip in the road, or a bump, you had to slow down. The car wasn't capable of doing that. But all of the car itself, all the styling and the look was ahead of its time. It's 40 years later and appreciated more now than it was then. But what we're going to bring to the deal is I'm going to use a C5 Corvette for suspension, or at least somebody's product that uses C5 Corvette suspension. We're basically going to try to give this Camaro a full-on Corvette ride with a custom luxury car feel. So it's a very good medium between the two. It's not a full-blown hot rod, but a full-blown, good riding, fun car.
Come on, baby, move. Come on.